Hello and welcome to Ones to Watch, powered by Football Index, where you bet on the football stock market by buying shares in the world's top players. I'm joined, as always, by Sir Alan McInally.
Hi, Emma.
Hello. Stronger Wall game this week, Al. You gone for the solid purple? I like it.
Purple and cocktail hour, she's called. So, but I'll put the lights on next week if we're still doing the Zoom thing.
Very fancy. Well, all you're getting from me is a living room door, I'm afraid. So I'm on a budget. Now then, let's crack on. Let's get stuck into our first one to watch that's going to make many an Arsenal fan happy. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, of course, we all know now, has signed a 3-year contract, 31 years of age. What are your thoughts on him, Al?
Brilliant. Well, everybody knows I'm kind of biased towards Aubameyang, considering I was telling everybody about him, even when I was doing the Sky stuff, when he was at Dortmund. I mean, he was a fantastic football player, great goal scorer, and he's been showing that since he's been at Arsenal. And probably, I would think the majority, there won't be many Arsenal fans wouldn't have wanted him to stay, not to stay rather, sign a new contract. So brilliant. I mean, it only cost, I don't know, 60 million. Can't be any more than that. It was a few years ago, granted. Probably been there 3 or 4 years now, but certainly one of the positive signings that Arsenal have ever had in their team, and certainly great news that he's staying at Arsenal.
Certainly, and in the 1920 season, he played 44 games, scored 29 goals and provided 3 assists. So with that in mind, Al, is Arteta's biggest achievement during the last few weeks, is it winning the Community Shield or convincing Aubameyang to stay?
Oh, gee, well, the Community Shield's always nice to win a little bit of silverware, albeit it's not really... when you win it, it's a trophy. If you don't win it, you're like, oh, well, it's only the Community Shield, doesn't really matter. But there's absolutely no question. The answer to the question is for sure is keeping Aubameyang at the football club. I don't know, Em. I don't know about you, Em. Did you actually ever think that Aubameyang would leave? Where's he going to go?
No, I didn't. It wasn't a consideration that he'd leave.
No.
I never thought he would. But I think Arsenal fans naturally, you know, with the Premier League resuming, you naturally would get nervous because you want to keep hold of him. I mean, when you look at him in terms of top scorers in the Premier League, Vardy 23, Aubameyang joint second with Ings 22, Raheem Sterling on 20, Mo Salah 19. So you can understand the value of him. Are you backing him to be top scorer this season, Al?
Oh. Well, when did he get here? 2017, 2018, something like that. So I've had 50 quid on him every single year and I've not collected. So this year, Aubameyang's out. Delighted he's at Arsenal, incidentally, and he will be there or thereabouts. But this will be the year that he'll be top goal scorer.
I was going to say that. You can guarantee it now, can't you? And you're going to be gutted. Well, that's our first one to watch. Please do feel free to have your say in your comments. Pop them just below. Time for our second one to watch, Al. Who are we going for?
James Rodriguez, fabulous debut for him against, who did they beat? They beat Spurs. Everton winning 1-0, Calvert-Lewin scoring a great goal. And they just looked a different team under the leadership of Ancelotti. And obviously, probably the reason that he's at Everton is really just Ancelotti being the manager there and knowing him from being wherever he's been at Real Madrid and Bayern Munich.
I was going to ask you about that. Do you think the relationship that they already have cemented is going to be beneficial for them both this season? Yeah,
I think so, Em. I think that's fair. I think it's a good question for the simple reason that you're right. I don't think he would be at Everton had Ancelotti not got the job. Didn't work out for him on loan at Bayern, which I'm a little bit surprised about, considering Bayern have plenty of possession and he likes to get on the ball and create chances. You'll probably be able to tell me. You can tell me in a minute, but I think he created a few chances against Spurs at the weekend.
Right.
And then... Yeah, exactly. There you go. So, and also the Real Madrid thing, I don't know, was Real Madrid too big for him? Was it too quick? I mean, he burst onto the scene with Colombia. You think he's going to be the next big thing, and it didn't quite work out for him. So this is probably a step in, not a stepping stone, but another step in the ladder for him to show everybody that what they saw 3-4 years ago, he's still got it. And hopefully for Everton, they will be the beneficiaries.
Yeah, you'd certainly hope so if you're an Everton fan, wouldn't you? I mean, there have been sort of concerns raised about whether he'd be able to adapt to the speed of the Premier League. But Ancelotti's basically said, if I was worried about that, then you say Bolt, which I really like. I like that response.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant answer. And it shows you actually Ancelotti, he's obviously got a bit of a sense of humour there as well. But there's no way he's bringing him. Well, listen, Ancelotti's under a little bit of pressure too, Emma. So he's not bringing him in just because he has that kind of relationship. He's bringing him in because A, he's a good player, and B, he thinks he can get even more out of him. hopefully in the Premier League with Everton.
How do you see the Everton midfield lining up this season compared to last season, now that they do have him?
I think what you saw against Spurs, I think if Ancelotti can have that every week, I think he'll have it. So Doucouré, Alan, who I thought was very good, incidentally. I thought he was really, really good. And Andre Gomez, he looks as if he's just stiffened up a bit, Gomez. With these players coming into the team, I think even he realises now that these are better midfield players than he was playing with before. And then just play Rodriguez, whether he wants to play left or right, Richarlison the same, and Calvert-Lewin down the centre. I think if they're all fit, I think that's what he plays. I think he goes 4-3-3. I think they're suited to the system. And Rodriguez, to a certain extent, has a bit of a free role in the front three by going where he wants to try and create as many chances and link up with three boys in the middle of the park. I don't see anything for Walcott. I don't think he's been a good signing for Everton so far. He's only kicked in with half a dozen goals, maybe 10 at max. He's been a disappointment. Sigurdsson and Tom Davis. And Tom Davis, to be fair to Tom, when he came in, with the energy, etc., he had, he looked as if he was going to have a really good future at Everton. That just hasn't worked out either. And they've struggled as a team because of those players have said, haven't really picked up the baton. And now Ancelotti's come in and said, not good enough, not in my team, this is what I want. And he's brought these players in, and all of a sudden Everton look completely different. So I'll go for Doucouré, Allen and Gomez, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin and James Rodriguez. And I think they're fit. I think they play. The rest are just a support act.
Well, we shall see how that unfolds this season. Everton fans, feel free to have your say in the comments below. Right then, time for the third and final one to watch this week, and one that's going to make a lot of Aston Villa fans very happy. Jack Grealish, of course, the 25-year-old, has signed a new 5-year contract, reported 125k per week. What are your thoughts on him,
Al? To be absolutely honest, Emma, and it's my team, and I loved playing at Aston Villa, and I've still got, real fond memories of the whole shooting match there. I think he's a little underestimated as a football player, Jack Grealish. He frustrates me a wee bit with this, socks at your ankles and all that, that's kind of superstar stardom. If Pele and Maradona done it, you'd be like, okay, everybody else does it, put your socks up, seriously. It's like wearing your hat round the wrong way. Who's that kid?
You're not a fan of Al. Can't see you doing that anytime soon.
Stop it, please. If I did that, somebody would think, right, the big man's lost his marbles, it's all over. But he's a wonderful football player. And to be honest, a huge thing for Villa to keep him. Keep that momentum going from managing to not be relegated last season. Deservedly gets a huge contract because he is one of their best players, if not the best player. And he has been the man over the last couple of years. In a 5-year contract, a lot of people cynically will be saying, well, it's just an expensive insurance policy. So if he stays for 1 year, 2 years, all the years, that'd be great. But 1 or 2 years, we're still going to get X amount of pounds for him if he wants to leave. But the good news is that Jack Grealish is and will be for the foreseeable future, an Aston Villa player, which will only help the team and everybody around him.
It certainly will. In the 1920 season, he played 41 games, scored 10 goals and provided 8 assists. And it's been rumoured that, when players have been looking at joining Villa, they've actually been asking whether Jack Grealish is staying. Does that go through the minds of a player? You'll know better than me, obviously. Does that go through the mind of a player when you're looking at joining the club?
I never asked if you were keeping X at Celtic, X at Aston Villa, X at Bayern Munich. I never once asked. And I think if you've got a football player that's asking, will you keep Jack Grealish and I'm not coming? You're like, well, you're not coming. If you don't want to come to Aston Villa just because they're keeping one player, you're not going to be a Villa fan. I'm not having that.
But it's not something to say, you want to be surrounded by talent. You want to feel that you're part of a solid, good team. So
yeah, no, that I agree with. Okay, you don't want obviously a huge exodus. Maybe that could have been the scenario had Aston Villa been relegated, but that's not the case. And they have good players in the football team. They still have players, incidentally, are nowhere near good enough to play for Aston Villa. But certainly, if it will help everybody at Villa because Jack has stayed. But if you're only signing someone because Jack has managed to sign a new contract, then I wouldn't be interested in bringing him to Aston Villa. It's part of the big sort of scenario kind of thing, But I wouldn't say it's the be-all and end-all. But the bottom line is, it's wonderful for Jack. And remember, Jack being the captain, in terms of media coverage, etc., he's going to be at the forefront of that as well, Emma. So it's certainly a wonderful football player. and delighted for Dean and the lads that have managed to secure him. And of course, he popped up with a goal in the cup as well, and great technique it was too.
Well, and he also finally got the England call up. So do you fancy his chances at the Euros next summer, Al?
Oh, I'd be disappointed for Jack if he doesn't get. I mean, I'm Scottish. You're English. Would you have Jack Grealish in the squad?
Absolutely.
So there you go. He's a wonderful football player. Like I said, a little underrated, I think, because I think he's got plenty to give. Little maverick in terms of what he can bring to England, but I'd be very disappointed if a good season this season, hopefully for Aston Villa, with better players around him. And I think Ollie Watkins coming into the team, I think that'll help Jack as well, because I said on numerous occasions watching Brentford last season, I think Ollie Watkins is a Premier Division football player waiting to happen. Thankfully, he's coming to my team, and hopefully he'll score plenty of goals. But I'd be very disappointed if Jack Grealish hasn't done enough in the next 6 months to make sure that Gareth Southgate says when he looks at his team, yeah, I need Jack Grealish. Whether he's a starter or not, I don't know, but certainly in the squad, I'd be very disappointed for Jack if he doesn't. And I think a lot of English fans now would appreciate, he doesn't shirk responsibility. For an international football player, I think that's a big thing. If you do it with your club team and transfer it into the international scene, then I think a lot of English fans would love Jack Grealish in the squad.
I'd agree with that. Thank you very much, Alan McInally. As always, feel free to have your say in the comments below. Myself and Al will be back with you next week with Ones to Watch. Thanks for that, Al. As always, feel free to have your say in the comments. And we'll be back with you next week with Ones to Watch, powered by Football Index, where you bet on the football stock market by buying shares in the world's top players. Thank you very much for joining us. Cheers for that, Al. See you next week.